Hello friends, how are you doing today? Really, how are you? Welcome to episode 23 of Is It Expired? I had to delete like 5 minutes of footage and start over because my roommate's dog, who is like an 80-pound Labrador, decided to start screeching. Just absolute chaos for a full 5 minutes, and it just blows my mind that he can even make a noise that high-pitched. It's awful. It's the worst thing ever, and I was like, I am not putting other people through that pain of that noise. It's so high-pitched. It's anyway, let's move on. Screaming like a bitch. That's all he does. Anyway, here is my disclaimer, as always. Please don't use expired makeup. I know what the potential consequences, yep, just throwing in extra letters now. I know what those can be, and I'm taking that risk for myself. I don't recommend other people do the same. The reason I'm doing this project is just due to the fact that I have almost 1,000 individual products, and I forget about a lot of them. So I let a random number generator pick 5 items for me, and I use those for a week. I see if the smells change, the consistency, the texture, or if it performs differently. If that's the case, they do end up getting decluttered. Otherwise, they just go back into my collection. I do know I've had a couple people reach out to me for some other videos, and I promise I'm working on it. Inventory, I do have a skincare routine one coming. I do have a PR haul that I have in a pile here. It's coming. Full transparency, I lost someone very important to me in January, and I'm still working through that. So please be patient with me. It is on my list. It's just I have other things that I'm dealing with right now. Let's go back to last week, see what I pulled, and see how they worked for the week. Alright, I'm going to start here with the Simpsons, the Makeup Revolution Treehouse of Horror Lip Mask. This is Kodos, or Candy Apple. I love how this smells so much. Obviously, I didn't get a ton of use on it. I just used it to prep my lips before I was getting ready. I do have the Kang one beside my bed, and that's about 2/3 done, and then I'll just move this over there and, you know, the cycle continues. This smells like caramel corn. I love it, and these are only about 3 years old. I am just going to keep using these because I know I'm going to finish these up. Next here, I do have the Lilac 3D Pro Face Palette from SheGlam. It is a highlight and sparkly bronzer palette. I wouldn't even call these blushes. They are way too shimmery. I did use them as a little bit of a topper, but honestly, I think I'm going to be more confident in using them on my eyes. I have to remember that I do need to utilize this in a different way for me to like it. It's not my favorite thing. It's the same age as everything else I got, so I think about 3 years old now, and everything else I got from SheGlam. I did a huge haul a few years ago, and I'm still kind of working through those products. I just wanted to kind of see how they were. I was curious. Some great, some eh. This is more the color story than the actual formulas that I don't like. The pink and the purple are just a little bit too sparkly to be a blush, but they're too dark to be a highlight for me, so it's a bit tricky there, and that's why I don't love this particular palette. But I'm going to keep it in my collection and try to use it for different things. Then I do have the Shop Miss A AOA Studio Glitter Tacky Base Eye Primer. Minimal Fallout Locks and Glitter Crease Free Dries Clear. Apparently. These are okay. I find that throughout the day it does lose a bit of its hold. And so depending on how long you need this to last, if you want something a little bit stronger, I prefer the Too Faced Glitter Glue. This is fine for like 4 to 6 hours. I don't even know if I'd test it past that, but to each their own, and it might work better for other people. That's the thing with makeup. What works for me doesn't necessarily work for everyone else, and vice versa. So for me, I didn't find this was a full day wear. This is only, I think, about a year old. I will keep using it because at this point, it is the only glitter glue I have. I have 2 of these. I gotta use them up. Next, I have the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, Satin Finish, in the shade Fair Beige. I have no complaints with this. This is only about a year old. Love the doe foot, love the thick applicator so that it's harder to break, because apparently I am accident prone. Color is really good, coverage is nice. Concealers aren't the most exciting thing in the world, so I'm just gonna move on. Last here, I do have my Nomad Cosmetics Single Shadows, which I can't, it's a magnet, Kirsty. What are you doing? Gosh. The color I picked was this one here, which is what, Toucan? Is that right? Yes, Toucan. So it is like a neon, bright yellow. Love the color, did get to play with everything else a little bit, and got some really fun looks. I will put those up here. And I am just going to note, I only have 2 this week. And the reason I only have 2 is because I pulled a boo-boo and one night I fell asleep with makeup on. I haven't done that in months. I try to be really, really good about it. I try to be diligent about just making sure I wash off my makeup at the end of the night, especially if I'm using glitters. And that particular night, I did use a loose glitter with my glitter glue, and what had happened during the night was the glitter glue and the glitter kind of made these weird little glitter balls that attached to my lashes and started scratching up my eye. It was mostly this eye, I'll be honest. So I must like lay on this side. I don't know what happened, but I woke up the next day and I had like all of these glitter balls stuck into my lashes and they were scratching my poor eye. So it was really, really sore. It wasn't red, luckily, but it was so incredibly sore. I got up immediately, washed off my makeup really, really gently, used an oil to break down those clumps, and got everything off. With that, my eye was sore for about 24 hours, and even when it stopped being sore, this eye wouldn't open all the way. I was like, I feel like my eyes are totally open, but it was like, I swear to God, it was so weird. I'm so sorry for that visual. So I let it rest for 2 full days before I started putting makeup on again, because it was just, I was like, I feel like I'm opening that eye, and I wasn't. So I gave it a couple days. With that, yeah, that's why I only have 2 looks. It needed some rest. And now it feels totally fine. Like I said, there was no redness or anything to it, which was a little bit strange. Soreness went away long before I was able to fully open that eye. And it was the weirdest feeling, thinking that I was opening it, and I wasn't. So, that was my week. Let's move on to this week. Alright, so I forgot to mention those Nomad singles are from 2023. So nothing was incredibly old. I don't think anything was over 3 years old last week, so no worries. And it's not like the products were expired and that's why my eye hurt. I fell asleep with makeup on. That was completely my own fault. So I can't judge the makeup for that because I did wear it a couple other days and no issues. Just maybe don't sleep in it. Yep. Let's move on. Alright, first of all, I have the ColourPop Ladybird Super Shock Shadow. Can you say that 3 times fast? I'm not going to try because it's just going to be a mess. These are only about 2 or 3 years old too. I am fairly new to the Super Shock formula, to be honest. Like I said, maybe 2 or 3 years. This does have a little pan in it. I don't think you can see, but there is a little, oh gosh, a little pan in there. Yeah, you can see him. So it has got some use, and honestly, these are just super easy to hit pan on because they're an incredibly soft, putty-like formula that they more move around than necessarily move onto the brush and onto your skin, fingers, however you want to use it. I am a big brush person because I don't like sticking my fingers in things, but to each their own. And it's getting some use. So I think after another week, we're going to see that pan is quite a bit larger, I hope, and we'll just go from there. Maybe one day I will finish it. Wouldn't that be nice? An eyeshadow? I don't think I've ever fully used up an eyeshadow in my life. No. These are things that I forget about all the time. And I loved these. So these are the Guerlain Kiss Kiss Lip Lifts. These are literally just lip primers. And they're so nice. These are old. These are probably like 8.5 years old. And I say these because I have 2 of them and I know I want to use them up. I love them. It's still completely full, and that's the weird thing. They're both like I've used maybe a dozen times, and I've adored those dozen times. It's just I always forget. But my lips look and feel smooth, soft, silky, even though the rest of my body, I've got eczema, I've got dryness. I have literal claw marks all the way up my leg from scratching at night when I don't realize I'm doing it, and then I wake up and jump in the shower and I'm like, why is it burning? And it's because it looks like a Wolverine went at me. I'm having a weird day. I'm sorry. I love these. My lips feel so nice, and obviously I have stuff on top of them, but this puts down such a beautiful base layer, and I want to remember these. Mostly because, yeah, they're 8.5 years old, and it's time to use them up. Wow, everything is actually... Last week, everything was like, just a flat... Why is my tongue not working? Justifiably aged. Does that make sense? It was all 3 years and younger. Things are old. This is the Givenchy Rose Dressing Lipstick. It's a mini. Again, 8 or 9 years old. It's just a nice pink. It's a little bit brighter than a neutral, but it's not overwhelming. It's not super in your face. So I do like it. Again, it's like I just forget that they exist. Doesn't smell like anything. I don't know if these normally would, because I feel like luxury lipsticks tend to have a scent, but nothing. Which is... I honestly don't remember if this one ever did. It's in good shape. I did kind of attack it today, and that was my own fault. I was cleaning it, and I got a little rough. But it's not like falling apart or anything. It's little, so I forget that it's there because I can't see it. But I will keep trying to use it, because I do think it's pretty. I think it works on my skin tone. Why don't I use it? Well, because he's little and gets lost. That's really the only reason. Okay, let's move to something not ancient. Still old, just not ancient. This is the Morphe 35V Stunning Vibes palette. Now, I think this is still 4 years old. I honestly cannot remember when I got this particular one. And it's because it's a neutral palette. It's a beautiful neutral palette. It's just, I don't know if you've noticed, but I do a lot of color on my eyes. A lot. So I kind of just neglect the ones that are a little more basic. That's just a me thing. Do I still think it's stunning? Absolutely. I just don't gravitate towards it because I'm like, oh, it's basic. But it's very, very pretty. I obviously used it today. I even used the dark purple and the blue as eyeliner. Like, I mixed them together and I have it on as eyeliner. It's super versatile in that way. This is a one and done, could use for the rest of your life palette if you're not into neons and pastels and all those bright colors. I am. Most people are not, and that's fair. It's really pretty. Everything went on beautifully. The mattes blended out beautifully when I did my crease. The shimmers gave me a lot of extra pizzazz. And, yeah, sort of those things that I didn't even know I owned. So I probably should use it more. Yep. And then last, we're back to my balls. Which means it's another Estee Lauder Courrèges collection item. I love these little balls. I think they're hilarious. Just fun packaging. And I have 3 that are in this type of package, so I could juggle if I knew how to juggle. I don't. We're not going to try. This is not the ultra pink, though. This is just the highlight. And if you can tell, like, there is a huge dent in there. It's very deep. Like, if I stick my knuckle in, I'm going to lose my whole knuckle. You know what I'm saying? So this I have actually used a lot, which is good because, again, it's 8 or 9 years old. But I can see a lot of use on it. which means it might be feasible for me to finish this eventually. And I do like it. I like it. Honestly, you can actually see just a little bit of subtle glow from within, which is good because I have the driest skin. So to be able to get any glow is ideal. I just about threw it. I'm having a rough day. But I do like this. I do like it as I can really actually see it on my nose, and I enjoy that. That's what I was going for, is that the real glow, because I don't have any oils on my skin ever, not in the winter at least. It gives me that. Makes my skin look healthy, which is what we want, isn't it? I'm excited to keep using this. Again, no smell, old as heck, but nope, nothing. And that is it for week 23? What week are we on? 26 is going to be half of a year, and that's just astounding to me. I'm almost there. It is the last week of February for videos. It'll be March for the next one. I still have not purchased any makeup products, and the only beauty purchases I've made were necessary replacements. So I'm very proud of myself for that, even though ColourPop currently has an 80% sale going on, and Sephora had a really, really good sale about a week ago, and a bunch of Melt Cosmetics was half off. That was hard for me. I really struggled to not get anything. There was some Gucci on sale. There was a Gucci concealer that I was like, I'm struggling to not just go ahead and get this. There was, I think, a Tom Ford foundation that was like reasonably priced because it was on sale. I struggled. But sales will always come and go. We don't need things just because they're pretty, just because they're on sale. I understand needing actual replacements, I get it, but like, as for makeup products, I could probably go 3-4 years without purchasing anything, and I would be a-okay. I'm not going to do that because I love makeup. I do. But I still needed to reel it back a little bit, and I gave myself 3 months. So, I have 1 more month to go. I'm 2/3 of the way there. I'm over halfway, so that in itself is phenomenal for me. I know I can do that last month. I'm very excited. Alright, that's the end of it. That's it. That's all. That's everything. Have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, journey in your life. And I will see you all next week.